AITA for not shaving my head to support my best friend. Throwaway for privacy, and also because I despise the whole thing and don't want it following me around the internet. I'd known my best friend, Grace, 24 female, since we were 11 years old, and I adore her. We've been each other's rock through all of our difficulties, so I was saddened when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer a few weeks ago. Fortunately, her prognosis is positive, but she needs surgery and is about to undergo chemo. I grieved a lot when I initially learned of Grace's illness, but Grace is one of those individuals who utilizes humor to deal with difficult situations, and she's been able to keep her head held high. She really is my idol. We have a set of wonderful common friends we've known since elementary school, and they asked me to a video chat yesterday without Grace. One of our friends suggested that we all shave our heads in support of Grace since she's going to lose her hair, and film a video to post on Instagram, Facebook, and other social media platforms. When I firmly said that I would not be doing that, everyone else looked frightened. My hair was really thick and my mother didn't want to deal with it. So I never had long hair my whole childhood, and after having short hair as a teenager, I chose to grow it out. I haven't gotten a good haircut since I was 17, and it's about long enough that I can sit on it, so I'm not eager to shave it and start again. Since someone who has lost close relatives to cancer, I am also very uncomfortable with those who shave their heads in support, as it seems to me to be performative activism in order to get attention on social media. My friends all yell at me about how selfish I am and how I have no empathy for Grace and what she is going through, but I don't believe you should have to go through someone else's pain in order to support them. I hung up the phone and woke up this morning to a flood of messages from other friends and relatives, questioning why I was so mean to my pals when they were just trying to assist. I don't believe it's reached Grace yet. The head shaving is supposed to be a surprise, and it has. She hasn't told me about it. At this point, I'm wondering whether I'm really being selfish and awful since I like Grace and don't want to lose my hair as well. Update. It's been much too long, but the dust has now cleared and I can finally provide an update on the issue. Thank you for the awards and all of your love and support for Grace and myself. I'm pleased to report that she is doing quite well and remains upbeat despite the fact that she has been undergoing chemotherapy for about 2 months. I haven't been able to see her in person often, which is unfortunate, but we spend the most of our days on FaceTime, and I've been offering all of my support. Following my initial post, I did what I believe most people would agree was the wisest decision. I informed Grace about our friend's intentions. She laughed it off since she didn't believe they were serious or that they'd really do it. Unfortunately, not long after I posted the post, I received an invitation to a Zoom call with Grace and the rest of the group, and I instantly had a bad feeling. I really didn't want to go, but I did because I needed to be there to defend Grace or myself, depending on what happened. When I arrived, I was shocked to learn that 3 of our friends had already their hair, and another planned to do it in front of Grace during the call. To cut a long tale short, Grace was horrified. She completely destroyed them for doing this without her consent or even informing her that it was going to happen, and instead of feeling supported, she now had a continuous reminder that she has cancer. We both accused them of being self-centered and narcissistic persons who didn't care about her or her condition, and simply wanted to do it to receive publicity on social media, and have others question why they did it and tell them what a fantastic person and friend they are. I was trying to remain calm since it didn't seem like it was my battle to lead, but Grace didn't hold back and used considerably more colorful words. As I said in my last piece, she is my ultimate idol. Needless to say, none of us is in communication with those 4 persons anymore, while we remain courteous with the others from the original phone conversation about the head who did not follow through. Grace and I are both relieved that I opted to inform her ahead of time, so it wasn't as much of a surprise when it occurred, and she's relieved that she won't have to face what would have been a lot of mock support from our ex-friends during her cancer journey. And for those who were as upset as I was, Grace claims that her hair has thinned, but she hasn't lost any as of yet. Story 2. AITA for refusing to allow a friend to crash on my couch. I just moved into a penthouse apartment. It's not all it's made up to be. It's called a penthouse, but it's simply a 2-bedroom apartment approximately twice the size of the typical ones, placed on the top of my apartment building, and have been trying to put my life back together. Part of the issue before moving into this home was that I allowed people walk all over me and get away with almost anything under the guise of being my roommates. Basically, they could do anything they pleased as long as they paid their share of the rent, or so they said. I began going to counseling to assist with some of my difficulties, and part of that treatment required me to move out. I got where I am today entirely by luck, and I couldn't be happier. However, one of my previous roommates was evicted from the flat after receiving a lot of noise complaints, mostly because of his own anger problems and shrieking at the top of his lungs that everyone on YouTube TV or the news who irritated him should be murdered or worse. He has no idea where I live now. All he knows is that I have more room than before. So he contacted and asked if he could stay at my house until he could obtain his own apartment. No, I said. This was okay until yesterday, when he began contacting me and telling me that since I lived in a penthouse, I had room and needed to let him stay with me. I reiterated my earlier no, and he called me various names before hanging up. Now, I'm being informed by common friends that I'm being in a hole here, since I do have the room to spare, and there's unlikely to be a noise complaint because I don't have any neighbors. I really don't want to do anything that would exacerbate the difficulties I left, although I can understand part of their logic. Am I the jerk here? And what would be a better approach to explain things to folks who are giving me a hard time about it? Update. I followed many of the commenters' advice and told the folks who were calling me in a hole for not allowing my ex-roommate stay on my sofa that if they were concerned about him, they should let him. One of their mutual friends stepped in and established some ground rules for him. Specifically, that it was just temporary and that he would have to make a concerted effort to get lodgings for himself. As I understand it, part of it was enrolling in a special program in which he would receive regular therapy at a mental welfare group and work with a caseworker to get things set up for him. The program's purpose was to grant a special voucher if the individual was making an evident and visible attempt to repair the issues that had either led them to be homeless or were on the verge of being homeless. He refuses to attend, arguing that they don't benefit anybody and that it's a waste of his time to bother going. I've blocked him on all social media platforms, but he's still attempting to contact me. The friend who took him in has realized why I had to withdraw myself from the issue, and he is already on extremely thin ice with them owing to his general lethargy. They attempt to convince him to assist, but he refuses. He's also reluctant to leave their place and seems to be hoping that I'll become lonely and want him to join me. It's as if he doesn't realize I don't want anything to do with him. Having said that, I believe they will give him another opportunity with the case workers. But if he continues to refuse to attend, I fully anticipate him to be sent out on the street once again. I know that everyone in our buddy circle has begun to distance themselves from him after seeing or hearing what the other friend is going through, and maybe seeing why I responded the way I did when he was booted out in the first place. Since of now, it seems like his mother will be the only one willing to take him in, as his elder brother has washed his hands of him. If anything further comes out of this, I'll keep you updated. Nota bene, I've also informed my landlord and property management about the problem with this ex-roommate, and they put him on the Do Not Enter list. That is, if he sets foot on the land, they will deny him admission, and if he does not leave, they will on him. It's a precautionary step normally used in domestic violence situations, married couples or otherwise, but I believe that given my experience, I qualify for such protection.